Hello, I am here to introduce you to the presentation that we have decided to work on, which is Alzheimer's disease. It is the most common form of dementia, and it is one of those diseases that unfortunately does not have a cure at the moment. It does slowly get worse as the older you get, and the older you are, the most likely you are to develop this. It targets the 9 key parts of your brain, which would be the cerebrum, the corpus callosum, the lobes, the cerebellum, the hippocampus, the thalamus, the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, and the brainstem. These are the 9 parts that are mainly focused, and while it is targeting those parts, it is deteriorating your brain, and one of the key things, like I said, was dementia, which slowly deteriorates your memory as one of the key side effects. It was first discovered by someone with the name Alzheimer's, and that's where the name comes from. Alrighty, next person.
Well, just to go a little bit more in depth on more like the causes and the development of Alzheimer's, it's important to know that there's two different like specific types of Alzheimer's that develop at different rates and different times. The two are going to be familiar or familial Alzheimer's and sporadic Alzheimer's. With familial, it's going to be a lot more early onset development, as early as about 30 years of age. It's significantly more rare, making up, I think, about 2% of those that are diagnosed with Alzheimer's. It's going to specifically be caused by mutation in the amyloid precursor protein, or APP, as well as the presenilin genes, or like more primarily the PSEN1 and PSEN2. As for sporadic Alzheimer's, this one's significantly more common. It's going to be a lot more late onset development, as in more so, I want to say mid 60s or later. It's more multifactorial, as in it's caused by both an interaction between genetic and environment factors. There's no really known specific cause for sporadic Alzheimer's, um, but to give more of, I guess, an example of some of its environmental factors, it's going to be things like a poor lifestyle, an unhealthy diet, some sort of lack of social interaction, a lack of exercise. It can also be like excessive alcohol or drug intake, like just the things that people go about doing day by day that don't really think much about in that moment. But as far as like a strong finite cause, they haven't determined one for sporadic Alzheimer's.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adam Kolobava, and today I will be talking about the signs and symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. According to the Alzheimer's Association, they have identified at least 10 signs and symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. The most common signs is memory loss, making it challenging to go about daily life because of short-term memory loss, including forgetting new information or repeatedly asking questions. Another sign is losing the ability to plan or solve problems. It may take them longer to do tasks that involve concentrating because concentrating becomes difficult. An example would be keeping track of monthly bills. A third sign would be having challenges with daily tasks, such as remembering how to drive to the grocery store. A fourth sign is being confused with either time or place, meaning that they may forget where they are. A fifth sign is having trouble understanding visual images, like judging distance. A sixth sign is having problems with words in either speaking or writing. An example would be having trouble following a conversation or struggling with vocabulary. They may even forget the names of everyday items. The last 4 signs and symptoms of Alzheimer's disease are misplacing things such as losing their cell phones, having poor judgment, and not paying as much attention to grooming. People with Alzheimer's disease also withdraw from social activities. Finally, a person with Alzheimer's can experience changes in their mood and personality. They can become easily confused, depressed, fearful, and easily to become upset with family members. My grandpa was recently diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, Alzheimer's, Lewy body, and subcortical vascular dementia. I have seen him slowly decline in his ability to stay focused on conversations. He may get a blank stare, like he is trying to understand what was said to him. My grandfather misplaces things, such as his cell phone, which we were never able to find. It is not easy to watch someone you have looked up to your whole life slowly lose their ability to connect with everyone around them. According to the National Health Service, there are 3 stages of Alzheimer's: in the early stage, mild stage, and later stages. These symptoms can be fluid in that they can occur at any stage or worsen. I have included 3 pieces of pictures of the brain: the first, the healthy; the second, the mild; and the third, the severe stage of Alzheimer's disease. The images show the brain shrinking as well as we learned in class. Plaques and tangles form in the brain and cause death to neurons, and cerebral spinal fluid fills the space, as seen in the slide with severe Alzheimer's disease. Thank you very much, and on to the next person.
As mentioned before, Alzheimer's does not have a permanent cure. There are treatment plans to help prevent and slow down the progression of Alzheimer's, but there are no known cures at this moment. Hopefully, there'll be one found, and there are current studies that are aiming to find a cure at this moment for Alzheimer's. One study to help prevent or even slow down the progression of Alzheimer's is exercising. It has been shown to help with reducing the progression of Alzheimer's and also showing to help reduce Alzheimer's if your family is prone to Alzheimer's. And then for the drug route, there have been studies with drug repositioning, which is essentially taking a past drug that was used for something else and applying it to Alzheimer's to see if it helps combat Alzheimer's in this case. We have 2 drugs that performed well with lowering the glutamate levels within Alzheimer's patients, which is essentially the chemical that is targeting the neurons in your brain and is causing your brain to deteriorate. The 2 drugs are, in my mind, mispronunciations, is parbendazole and bortezomib. And those 2 were shown to be really effective in lowering the glutamate levels within Alzheimer's patients, but at the end of the day did not perform in a way that act as a cure. It just act as a slowing down progression for Alzheimer's.
My name is Crystalline, and today I will be talking about the neural and genetic basis of Alzheimer's disease. Pathological features. At the core of Alzheimer's, there are 2 types of pathological features: the formation of beta-amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles. These abnormal structures disrupt normal neural function, ultimately leading to cognitive decline. Neurological changes. The impact on the brain is profound, with neuronal loss and brain atrophy, especially in the hippocampus and cerebral cortex. The chronic inflammation and oxidative stress further contribute to the deterioration of neural tissue, worsening the progression of the disease. Neurotransmitters imbalances. Alzheimer's disrupts the delicate balance of neurotransmitters, particularly in acetylcholine, crucial for communication between nerve cells. These imbalances play a significant role in the cognitive impairment observed in the individuals with Alzheimer's disease. Thank you. APOE gene impact. Genetics also play a crucial role in Alzheimer's. The APOE gene, responsible for protein production and cholesterol transportation, is implicated in the disease. APOE4 gene mutations are significantly linked to onset sporadic Alzheimer's, highlighting the genetic component of this complex condition. Complex interplay. Alzheimer's disease is not a result of single factor, but rather than a complex interplay of genetic, neural, lifestyle, and environmental factors. This multifaceted approach underscores the importance of considering various elements in understanding and addressing Alzheimer's. Ongoing research aims to deepen our understanding of the disease, leading to the development of innovative treatments and potential preventative measures. The neural basis of Alzheimer's involves the combination of pathological features, neurological changes, neurotransmitter imbalances, and genetic influences. Now we will be talking about the genetic basis of Alzheimer's disease. We will explore the two main genetic forms of Alzheimer's, late onset sporadic and early onset familial. The genetic forms. Alzheimer's exhibits a strong genetic component, and there are two primary forms, late onset sporadic, which makes up 95% of cases, and early onset familial, making up the remaining 5%. Early onset familial Alzheimer's. The early onset familial form is linked to specific genetic mutations in the APP, PSEN1, and PSEN2. These mutations lead to an increased production of beta-amyloid protein, forming a toxic plaque in our brain. This form of Alzheimer's typically surfaces between the ages of 30 and 40, underscoring the impact of genetic factors in the disease onset. Now, with late onset sporadic Alzheimer's, on the other hand, late onset sporadic Alzheimer's is associated with the APOE4 gene. While this gene increases the risk of developing Alzheimer's, it's important to note that not everyone with the APOE4 gene develops the disease. This highlights the complex interplay between the genetics and other factors in Alzheimer's development. Genetic testing. As we unlock the secrets of our genes testing has become available particularly for the APOE4 gene. However, it's essential to understand that genetic testing for Alzheimer's is a bit controversial because the majority of patients diagnosed with Alzheimer's don't have a specific gene risk factor. It's a reminder that genetic testing is one of the pieces of the puzzle.